If you're keeping up on the news, you can't miss the fact that layoffs are happening all over the place. Microsoft, Alphabet, BlackRock, Stitch Fix, every industry is being hit with layoffs. And everyone's looking for a recession-proof job. Everywhere you turn, you're reading articles on what are the recession-proof jobs. Well, one recession-proof job is in medicine. And I remember being laid off a long time ago. I went through a large-scale layoff. And I remember bemoaning the fact that I'm not in medicine. Well, the sciences were never my thing. And then shortly thereafter, I went and got some aptitude testing, and the expert ran this whole battery of tests. And afterwards, he walked me through what I might be great at and what I might enjoy as a career. And he said, accounting, now that's a recession-proof job. He said, accounting, you'd be good at it. You could be an accountant. He said, but you'd be really unhappy. It's not one of those things that I am naturally drawn to. So over time, I'm probably not going to be so great at it because I wouldn't be happy. So everyone's talking about recession-proof jobs. If the recession-proof jobs aren't in your wheelhouse or aren't your forte or aren't something you're really, really drawn to, think again. A smarter way to go at this is to not look for a recession-proof job, but it's to recession-proof the job you already have. Let's look at 3 ways to do that. First, if you want to recession-proof your job, then plug the leaks. What do I mean by that? This is the time to really take stock at work of how you're showing up professionally and look for anything that's outstanding, anything that you need to work on, anything that you need to just clean up. There's a hole, you got to plug that leak. One of the leaks you might find is feedback that you have received that you haven't addressed, especially if it's feedback you've gotten more than once and you realize, there's really something there. So if people are telling you, if you've heard maybe once, but definitely if you've heard more than once that your graphs and your charts when you're presenting are hard to read, maybe if people have said, you're just bringing too much detail, these decision makers you're giving this information to, they don't want that level of detail. If they have to wade through, they have to really over focus on what is it that the numbers you're putting up there are saying. So you got to simplify your graphs. And if you have not done that yet, it's time to do it. Or maybe there's a leak that you just have this nagging feeling. You've just got this sneaking suspicion on your own. No one's giving you the feedback, but you're thinking, you know what? That's something I should do something about. A long time ago, I remember there was a lot of paper in those days, a lot less digital, and I had my filing cabinets, and they were filled up. I had this stack on the front corner of my desk that was just stacking up, these folders stacking up. And one day I looked at it and I said, you know what? It was a big stack. And I looked at it and I said to myself, okay, that either looks like I'm someone who doesn't get stuff done or someone who's disorganized. That is not a good look. That is not how I want to show up professionally. That was a leak that I needed to plug. So we're not talking about being perfect. We're just talking about excellence and looking for how you can be more excellent and then doing it and exhibiting it. Second, if you want to recession-proof your job, then build your skills and build your knowledge. In other words, make yourself more valuable. And there's 2 ways you're going to do it. Number 1, you're going to get new information. You're going to take a course. You're going to take a program or a seminar. You're going to read a book. And then secondly, you're going to take that new knowledge, you're going to take that new information, you're going to digest it, you're going to pull out the key themes, and you're going to decide what is going to be particularly applicable for you, that would be useful for you in upping your value and your contribution. And then you're going to make a plan to practice it, and you're going to do it. You're going to practice that. You're going to give yourself feedback. You're going to try to get feedback from someone else who could help you to monitor yourself and gauge what kind of improvement are you making. Growth is attractive. Making moves like this is attractive. Your management is going to see you as a rising star. And if you do find yourself in a layoff situation at some point, this is a talking point that you're going to talk about in interviews. Nobody wants to hire someone who's going to come in and just sit there. They want to hire people who are going to grow with the organization and to help the organization grow. So if you show that you're somebody who is actively, and by the way, that somebody should start with your boss right now. So don't wait for that next role. It's right now. So if you're somebody that they're seeing is growing and you're intentionally growing your skills, not in a self-centered way, but in a way that you can now make a greater contribution, then they're going to want to keep you around. If you want to recession-proof your job, stay close to your boss. If you're not already having regular one-on-ones, weekly one-on-ones, if your boss hasn't invited you to those, you got to go to them and ask for them. And in those one-on-ones, you're going to do a couple of things. Number one, you're going to ask your boss, what are they facing? What are their difficulties? What are their headaches? See if you can get them to vent a little bit. And as they're venting, as they're talking, you are listening for how you can help. And you may have an idea in the moment of how you can help. And if not, you can follow up later. But step in and speak up and say, hey, I want to support you in this. Or here's something that I could take off your plate. In other words, if you can be your boss's answer to a headache, wow, they're going to want to keep you around. And the second thing you're going to want to do in those one-on-ones is you're going to want to be sure that your boss is up to speed on the impact that you are already having. And I say impact because don't go to your boss with a list of what you're doing. I mean, you can list out what you're doing, but you always want to finish each one of those pieces with, and here's the impact. Here's how it is having an impact on the department, on the customer, on the business. Your boss is not measured on, here's the tasks or activities. Your boss is measured on, are they having an impact on the larger organization? And if you can show that contribution of what you're doing linked to what they're measured on, once again, they're going to want to keep you around. So don't necessarily look for a recession-proof job unless that's already your gifts, your skills. Maybe you're already in a recession-proof job. Fantastic. But if you're not, recession-proof the job you're in. Plug the leaks, build your skills, and connect regularly with your manager. And when you do, make it count.